What's up, everybody? Episode 31, putting you in your place. I about messed up there. Finding your place, episode 31. Matt McMurray, I got him coming back. He's got some, life achievements. He's achieved the dream of, finally buying that car dealership. He was talking about it when you were on the last show, and now you've actually achieved it. And just wanted to talk to you about it, man. Congratulations.
Yeah, I appreciate that. I don't remember what month we did the last show. Maybe it was
about.
Was it in 21? It was in 21.
I mean, it was early. It was early on in 21 too.
Yeah. So I'd already been working on it.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So it took you that long.
Mm-hmm.
So why Wayne's? I mean, like you just was looking in all of Southwest Virginia. I mean, that's not even Southwest Virginia, is it? That's
Yeah. So basically, it takes a long time to put a deal like that together.
Yeah.
But I started actually. Just to do a quick rundown, or maybe a long rundown of the whole story.
Yeah, let's get the whole story.
The whole story.
Yeah.
So rewind back to election 2020.
Yeah.
In November, the election happened. Facebook, Instagram, everything goes crazy, right?
Yeah.
Everybody's super polarized. Like people are mad, upset, they hate each other. One group's happy, one group's mad.
Yeah.
One group thinks the whole thing is fake.
Yeah.
So I was like, man, I just can't. Like, this is messing up my mindset.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not trying to fall into any of this stuff, right? And so I switched over to LinkedIn.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. And so, a matter of fact, I switched over to LinkedIn, saw your podcast, sent you a message, and then we got on the first time.
Right.
From that switch.
Nice.
So I jumped over to LinkedIn because it's far less political.
Yeah.
A lot less going on there politically.
Right.
And it's just more business focused.
Right.
And on LinkedIn you can follow hashtags, right?
Right.
And so I started following hashtags for dealership brokers, dealership sales, dealership transactions.
Wow.
I started connecting with dealership owners, and because I was interested in it and I like to read about it and see what was going on. And there's a lot of activity going on right now. Mergers and acquisitions, dealership buy sales, just tons of it going on right now.
I'm sure.
Because a lot of these older guys are, they're aging out. They don't have succession plans. There's big consolidators coming through and buying stores. And so it's real active. The market's real active. So there's a lot of news out there. And on LinkedIn, it was blowing up.
Wow.
And so, I don't know, late December, we get through Christmas, and I'm just thumbing through LinkedIn, and an ad pops up. And it said, are you a dealership general manager or executive looking to get your first dealership, basically?
Right.
And so it was an ad from a company called the Dave Canton Group, which is a dealership brokerage firm, but they also do CFO services. They also do they help people acquire stores and grow portfolios and different things. And so the ad popped up, and it was just a fillable form. So I kind of scrolled past it for a couple of days, but they kept running it or whatever. And I said, you know what? I'm going to, if I'm ever going to do this, like, I better start talking to the people that can really get it done and quit relying on the people who can't get it done.
Right.
So I put my name in, real simple form, name, first name, last name, phone number, address, email address. Next day, a guy named Tim Devine called me from a company. He worked for the Dave Canton Group, but he also worked for a company called Biltmore Automotive Consultants.
Yeah.
He called me, and we chatted for a minute, and he said, who are you? What are you kind of looking to do? And, I laid the whole dream out for him, how I'd always wanted to be a new car dealer and how I got these businesses up here, and it was preparing a path for me to move into that that business. He said, so you're in Blacksburg, right? And I said, yeah. And he said, right by Virginia Tech. I said, yes, sir. He said, I went to Virginia Tech. So at the time, he lived in San Diego. So immediately we had a rapport.
Right.
Because we had both gone to Virginia Tech.
Yeah.
And so from there, the guys that worked for Biltmore Automotive Consultants and the Dave Canton Group, like, they really started to kind of take a liking to me, especially once they figured out, like, I was who I said I was.
Yeah.
And because one of the first things they do is they send you, you have to send them personal financial statement, a personal biography of yourself,
right,
and some different things. So I sent all that stuff into them, and they said, okay, well, you are who you are. You don't really fit exactly what we're looking for, but we think we might be able to make something work.
Nice.
'Cause you look like you know what you're doing, and we got a lot of car guys that are good car guys, but maybe they're not great businessmen, and maybe, we don't know where this is going to go, but let's see where it goes.
Right.
So we get through that process. They kind of vet me out, and they let me in the program. And then one of the first things you do in the program is they say, okay, well, based on your personal financial statement and everything that you got going on, we think you can buy this much store. And so they put a package together, a prospectus package, and they identify. So you go around like 100 air mile radius from where you live.
Right.
And they put this little package together, and they send it out to some of the older dealers that might be ready to, that might not have a succession plan, that might be ready to retire, but didn't really think about it, and thought it might be too hard, and didn't know what they wanted to do. So we sent that out first. We put some feelers out here locally for a new car store, and nothing really panned out. So we had to expand our search from 100 to 200.
Yeah.
We found a store in Tennessee. We looked really hard at that store, but man, I went out there and it was in the middle of nowhere. It fit my parameters really good.
Yeah.
But it's too far away from home.
Yeah.
And my quality of life would have gone down.
Yeah.
Even though I would have got a dealership.
Right.
So I kind of backed up on that one.
Yeah.
So May 2021, I met another guy named Hal Fetter on LinkedIn. He's a business broker in Williamsburg, Virginia, and he does a lot of Ford dealerships because he was previously he was an executive at Ford Motor Company.
Yeah.
And then he retired, and now he's a business broker. So I met him on LinkedIn, communicated with him a little bit prior to this, and then he said, "Hey, Matt, I got this store in Central Virginia. Do you want to, look at it?" And I said, "Central Virginia, sure. What's it near?" And he sent me the non-disclosure agreement, and I signed it, and he sent me the package on it. And sure enough, I'd almost figured out where it was based on the listing description.
Yeah.
Because he said it was at the intersection of two, interstate highways, and talked about the population. So I kind of figured it out, kind of where it was, and already had identified it. And he sent me the package. We started going through it. A little bit more dealership than what I probably could have afforded, but it's a strong, profitable store that has shown a track record of being profitable,
right,
even through the pandemic and everything.
Yeah.
And so we said, okay, well, we'll try to, let's try to get it. And so one thing led to another, and we started in May of 2021, and we closed January 27th. So that's how long it took to get it done.
Wow.
Yeah, so we got a bank on board. We got the SBA on board. We got Ford Motor Company on board, which was arduous.
Yeah.
Because they didn't want to approve me because I didn't have new car experience. So I had to go and get a general manager who had what they would consider like a tier 1 general manager.
Gotcha.
So we went out, and I reviewed probably 37 or 38 resumes, narrowed it down to 3, interviewed 3 with the help of Biltmore, and we got a guy that we thought would be a good candidate. We made him an offer. He got accepted by Ford Motor Company to be that role. And, Ford Motor Company finally accepted us. Ford Motor Credit, which does the floor planning, they accepted us too. And once we got that, it was path to closing.
Wow.
And we went to closing, and a dealership closing, like, I should show you the picture, but it's a stack of paperwork like that because you have a lot to close. Like, you got a real estate portion to close, which you're very familiar with that.
Yeah.
Then you got the business portion to close.
Yeah.
And then because we used a SBA 7(a) product, it was another stack of papers during closing. So it was kind of crazy. And then the week we were going to close, my wife had to sign off on it too since it was SBA loan. And the week of closing, she gets COVID.
Oh, wow.
So we had to do a remote closing on Zoom. So my wife and I I didn't have COVID. She had COVID. We had to sit at the dinner table with all the papers in front of us with a laptop on Zoom while they witnessed us sign all the documents. Cohen Perry, Suzanne Pierce at Cohen Perry, she put all that together for us here locally, and that was just fantastic because I had a lawyer here with the Cohen Perry group, and then a lawyer named Eric. He lived in Atlanta. He specializes in dealership transactions. So we had to put all this stuff together. And
so there's a whole back-end industry that sells and helps buy car dealerships. Wow.
Yep, that's right.
I didn't know that.
Puts those deals together because they're very complicated.
Yeah.
There's a lot of moving pieces. There's like any one of 1,000 things could have gone wrong or not been approved, and it would have killed the deal.
Right.
Very complicated and arduous.
So tell us about life now that you're the owner of this thing. Like, what if, you got this business in Blacksburg, you got this business that's an hour and a half, maybe 2 hours away from you.
Yeah.
You got this general manager that's probably alleviating a lot of the time stress. You can just put it on his shoulders and he's running things. Like, what have you had to sacrifice in your life? What things have changed in your life from the time that you started this process to now that you're in the fire? Like, tell us just about that.
Yeah. So I'd originally planned on, my general manager and I got a townhouse up there right behind the dealership.
Nice.
So I'd originally planned on staying up there when I needed to stay up there.
Yeah.
But what I found is I live in Christiansburg.
Right.
It's about an hour and 45 minutes from Christiansburg.
Yeah.
And so what I found is, like, when I'm done, we close at 7 p.m. up there. When I get on the road, like, I just go. Yeah. I just come home. Like, there's something about sleeping in your own bed, like that pull.
Oh, yeah.
And so I haven't stayed up there at all.
Right.
So what I've sacrificed a lot of is downtime.
Yeah.
Free time.
Yeah.
The time that you sit in your recliner and kind of thumb through social media, or maybe you read something or you watch something on TV. I think a lot of that downtime is gone.
Yeah.
But as far as everyday schedule, other than me getting home late, there's not much changed.
Gotcha.
But, it's a good thing. Like, I get up every morning, 4:30 a.m., go to the gym over here at Treble, right next to Kroger, work out 4 days a week there, because that's, then go home, eat some breakfast, get a shower, wake the kids up, take my daughter to school. She goes to, even though we live in Christiansburg, she goes to Blacksburg Middle School.
Yeah.
And take her to school, then leave right from there and go to the dealership. I get up there about 9:15, 9:20, walk in, do my thing there, managers meetings, a lot of meetings.
Yeah.
A lot of meetings with vendors and marketing companies, and, meetings with the people that work there, and interviewing people and hiring people, and
Right.
going through all my bills, signing all my checks, and then, we sell cars, and then the next thing you know, it's 7 p.m. and it's back home.
Wow.
So it's busy.
How's your role changed at Campus Automotive?
I'm not there as much.
So, like, do you have somebody that you put in place? So you've kind of brought them up the ladder as you've kind of gone on to your next level?
Yep, I do. I got a guy that's been with me. He's been with me about 13 years, almost 14 years. So he and I, we can almost complete each other's sentences.
Yeah.
So he looks after it like a hawk.
Nice.
So, and I trust him to make decisions on my behalf. And then when he needs to make a decision that he might not be sure about, he always, he's on the phone with me and we're figuring it out. So that's how it's kind of went down here. And so far it's going pretty good.
Yeah.
Especially at Campus Automotive, I think it's definitely on the upswing. So, I'm happy about that, because I was a little bit worried about it, because anytime you leave, and when I leave, I'm leaving for like a week at a time.
Yeah. And we want to thank, these people that have built big businesses. They've obviously transferred their skills and moved on to the next level. And like, it might not be us doing it, but you can't be an owner of the car lot and actually be in the showroom selling cars.
Right. No,
cannot. You can't do that.
Matter of fact, it hurts if I'm there.
Yeah.
I can tell you, because I'll be trying to give stuff away.
Right.
Like, I'm trying to hug people, and it's great. I have a job. I have a specific role, and it's more of a CEO role now.
Yeah.
Now I have multiple businesses, and three big businesses and 2 real estate companies, and like, it's I'm more of a CEO than anything else.
Yeah.
I do like work. I do like actually working.
Yeah.
But it's not really my job anymore.
Right.
So I have to kind of set the expectation for what I want from the companies, and I have to hold the people accountable to their performance and meet that expectation.
Right.
So
it's interesting to see the organizational chart. I would be interested to see your organizational chart on all these businesses and how you've put people in place. See, I've struggled there. I've struggled in, but I mean, I've got some rocks right here in my company right now. But trying to bring on a sales force, trying to bring on like, people that I need to like go out into the field and sell these homes. That's been one of my biggest struggles, you know?
Yeah.
So the compensation plans, I know that's a big thing in the car business. These compensation plans that are forever changing, and you got to go back to your troops and be like, well, got to change you again. Got to put this and that and on you. Like, I mean, just from the people that I've served in the community that have been car salespeople, they come to me all the time and be like, bro, they changed this up again.
Yeah, because there's a big the market changes.
Yeah.
Like for instance, right now, and I'll just speak on those comp plans real quick.
Yeah.
So right now, because of a lack of new inventory, used car prices are very high.
Yeah.
So new car gross profits and used car gross profits are at record levels. And so what that does is on a legacy comp plan, your compensation is based on a percentage of that GP.
Right.
So,
gross profit,
GP. So let's say you sell a car, you have a $5,000 gross on the car,
right?
And the salesman's making 20% of that gross. Well, all of a sudden he's making $1,000 a car, so he can sell one car and then just lay back and then not do anything, right? So you have to change comp plans in those situations, and you've either got a cap comp or you've got and so because what happens is your compensation will get out of whack and it'll be too high. And the other problem is if it goes back to the way it used to be when you're giving cars away and relying on back end money,
right?
Then all of a sudden $1,000 commissions on a car are now $150 commissions on a car,
right?
And you got to change the pay plan again,
right?
So you change the pay plan so that people can kind of make a living. I will tell you at CarMax, for instance, like a car buyer at CarMax, they hire a lot of college graduates, and a car buyer at CarMax would start off making probably $52,000 a year, and he'd be responsible for buying 400 cars a month.
Oh, wow.
Well, on a legacy comp plan at $200 a car, if you bought 400 cars a month, what would you make?
Yeah.
Right? You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So what you have to do is design a comp plan that doesn't require a lot of changing.
Yeah.
So get it right, and then make it so that it adjusts with the changes in the market.
So that's interesting that it's that variable. It's interesting that there's just not like, all right, well, you're going to get this base and you can get this, and it's just you're just going to ride that out. And you perform, you sell 25 cars in a month, 30 cars in a month. You're killing it. Like you can get some bonuses on that maybe, but I just the frustration that I hear from the car salesman when when their income's not predictable, and it's just as I'm trying to sell them houses too, like the comp plan changes in the middle of selling a house, like we might have to reevaluate their pre-approval,
right. Well, your comp plan changes too. If you think about markets change now. Now we're putting houses on the market, and they're going under contract in like 24 hours.
Yeah. And
at full asking price, nobody's trying to beat you out of commission.
Right.
Right. So right now it's a lot different than it was in 2010 and 11 when you were selling houses for 2% because you didn't have any choice. Right.
Right.
You're trying to put food on the table.
Yeah.
So it's the same kind of thing, with the market changing. And I think that's kind of what makes it unpredictable is the actual market itself and not the job itself.
Right.
And so there are places that pay like a salary and have a, and you can make a pretty good living at it, if you want to, if that's what you want.
Yeah.
But if you want to, if you're working 6 days a week, bell to bell, like you need to have an income to support your investment and your time investment.
Oh, definitely.
So you want to make, 6 figures doing it.
Yeah.
And so in order to do that, but the business is always changing.
Yeah.
And so I think comp plans will probably continue to change and evolve, and that makes it challenging for people when they go to buy a house and they got income that's all over the place. Like one year they make 200 and then the next year they made 80. Like it's hard, when you're sitting there trying to qualify that, like it's hard to qualify that to a lender.
Yeah, definitely.
So,
definitely. And are those 1099 guys or are they W-2 guys?
They have to be. It's a state law in Virginia. They have to be W-2 guys.
Gotcha.
Yep. So they're actually employees, and they get benefits and days off and paid vacation and, other stuff. So
Gotcha.
health insurance and.
Right on. Well, how's the YouTube content now that you probably have no time for that? You done any YouTube?
Yeah, I've done a few. I got probably 4 videos in the queue that are getting edited right now.
Yeah.
But I don't have a whole lot of time to do it. But on Saturdays, I always work in Blacksburg, so Saturday's my YouTube day. So if I'm gonna film, I'm gonna do it on Saturday.
Yeah.
So
you can expand big time now. You can do car reviews. You could do like the difference between the 2020 Ford F-150 and the 2022 F-150.
There's so many. Oh man, we haven't even scratched the surface.
Yeah,
we haven't even scratched the surface.
And what's your following count or subscriber count up to now?
Oh man, 13 or 14,000.
Dude.
Yeah.
Dude, you're my idol.
So, I'm trying to get to 100,000 because They say once you get over 10,000, like it starts to like exponentially grow. You just got to keep putting the content out and answering your. The worst thing I've done is not been able to answer my comments.
Yeah,
that's the hardest thing. I just don't have the time to sit and answer those comments.
Right.
Because there's comments coming all the time, and questions and comments, and
get your internet manager to jump on the channel.
Jump on them and do them. Yeah, I need to do that. He's been overwhelmed with just getting everything changed over to the new name and getting the cars relisted online and getting the marketing straight up there.
Right.
But, it's been kind of crazy, but
so what's the future? I mean, like are you content? Are you content? Are you you looking like this one become profitable? You looking for your next one? Like how big are you gonna? What kind of footprint you looking to?
Yeah, I'll be looking for the next one. Yeah. And the guys that are helping me, the guys that helped me get the store, they're on with me they have a CFO program where they help you, and especially when you're first getting started, get your financial statement right.
Yeah.
Help you understand it, because a car dealership financial statement is a lot different than a financial statement that I have at Campus Automotive on QuickBooks, right? Yeah. It's more complicated.
Sure.
And so, they stay on with me, help me make decisions, teach me, kind of, get me better. And then they also will be looking for another store and another opportunity. Mm. But this time we can take our time and look for one that really fits.
Yeah.
So, I'm mainly looking for one that's profitable and has maybe this store's the store that I got now is kind of like a diamond in the rough. It kind of flew under the radar from all the consolidators, the big companies. Yeah. And, it's not a new building. It's not a new facility, not one of these Taj Mahal stores. And so it kind of flew under the radar, and it had an older owner that was sick. And so it was the right place at the right time kind of thing.
Yeah.
So I want to take my time and make sure I find another one like that.
Sure.
And make sure that all the financials line up and it pencils and it's profitable and it can be profitable for me as an investment. Yeah. So, in the next 20 years, I'd like to have, 10 stores, grow the portfolio, and then maybe get some real estate paid off and then sell it as a package.
Nice.
If my kids don't want to do it or whatever. And it may just stop at this one.
Yeah.
But, the plan is to keep going.
Right on.
Because I don't stay, I have to feel like I'm moving forward all the time.
Yeah.
Like I have to feel like I'm reaching all the time for something. Because if I don't, I get, I don't want to say, I get agitated. I guess so
you don't feel like you're going after life enough if you're not reaching for something?
Yeah.
Something like that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like I continuously have to reach for stuff.
Right.
Because I always felt like it, when you stop, you kind of start declining.
Hey, man, if you're not growing, you're dying.
You're dying, right? So I'm going to keep going. I don't know where it's going to go. I don't know where it's going to go or what it's going to be.
Well, we're cheering for you.
Yeah.
We're pumped for you. We're proud of you. Having a guy like you in this community showing the way, you spoke it, you're manifesting it. You're not afraid of it. I mean, you might get moments of like, oh, am I doing this really?
Yeah.
But you're doing it, bro. You're doing it.
Yeah.
And the impact you can have on your family, the impact that you can have on this community, it's been great. Just having our relationship and watching you work, bro.
Yeah, no doubt. Getting a new car store as a first generation new car store owner. Like, it's hard.
Yeah, you're not legacy. You just did this on you.
Like, my dad didn't have dealerships.
Yeah.
Like, I just did it.
Yeah.
And it's hard.
Yeah.
But so is working at Burger King.
No doubt.
So what hard do
Choose
you
your
want?
hard.
Yeah. Choose your hard. Like, you want to work at Burger King or you want to go after something?
Right.
Right. It's all hard.
Yeah.
Like, riding a trash truck is hard, right?
Yeah.
Selling real estate's hard.
Yeah.
Like, everything's hard.
Yeah.
So pick your hard.
Yeah.
And go after it. And, having a dealership is life-changing. If you can get it operating and profitable, like, it's life-changing.
Yeah.
So, and you can leave a legacy on your family moving forward.
That stuff can move through generations.
Yeah. And more so than the independent store could do, or a little body shop or whatever you may have.
Yeah.
So, you have to go try it. If you really want to do something, like, I've always wanted to be a new car dealer. Like, always. Yeah. My dad wanted to be. He never made it, but I've always wanted to be a new car dealer. So if you want it, like, you'll figure it out.
It's amazing that you made that switch. You connected with some real people on LinkedIn, and the conversations led to, the ambition you had.
Yeah, and along the line, like, there was a lot of failures. Like, I tried to buy the little dealership in Floyd.
Yeah.
The little Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram dealership Floyd. It was $750,000 all in, real estate, parts inventory, furnitures and fixtures.
Seems reasonable.
Like, it's cheap, right? Yeah. Like, compared to this deal, it's cheap, right?
Right.
It's all it was. Like, it's way cheaper than what I did up here on Main Street.
Right.
But I couldn't get it done. I couldn't get it done. And, I think things happen. I think things happen for a reason.
Yeah. What stops you there? What stops you there?
I didn't know what I was doing. I didn't know what I was doing.
So you were just early in the education game.
And I didn't have people helping me.
There you go.
So
that one slipped through because you didn't have the right team around you.
Yeah. And then shortly thereafter, as soon as that deal fell through, my dad had a bad stroke.
Oh man.
And my dad had rental properties everywhere. He had 2 transmission.
I remember him back in the I remember him selling real estate.
Yeah. And so he had a bad stroke, and he's still alive. He can't walk or talk, but he had a mess of stuff that I had to clean up. But I wouldn't have been able to do that.
Yeah.
Had I had that dealership.
Right.
And that dealership's in Floyd.
Right.
So you're only going to do so much in Floyd, right? Yep. Especially when you have these 2 behemoths over here.
No doubt.
And so
they dominate the space.
That didn't fall through. And I had some friends in the new car business that, said they were going to help me do some things and couldn't.
Yeah.
And didn't.
Yeah.
So, I there's some roadblocks and some failures, some failed conversations, and some people that were upset with me along the way. And, I felt like all that prepared me. That everything that I did that I failed at prepared me for when I did find. I knew I needed to find the right people to help me put the deal together.
Yeah.
Since it's so complicated. So all those things that I failed doing, like used car business in Blacksburg, like I failed in the used car business in Blacksburg. I tried really hard, but it's hard.
Yeah.
Like, you got 2 big, like, Motor Mile and like your groups, like the biggest independent dealer in Montgomery County sells like 9 cars a month.
Right.
Right. And everything else is gobbled up by 2 big groups.
Yeah.
And so I couldn't get it done over here. So, but I learned along the way.
Right.
You
needed that experience to be who you are right now.
I needed the experience. Yeah. I got in with the right people on the used car side. I was in a 20 group with a bunch of smart guys. I learned. I did a certification program through the Independent Auto Dealers Association, and I went through all this training and met lots of people and learned a lot. And so it basically since 2011, I've been working on this since 2011, if you think about it. And I went and I've tried things and failed and had to back up and punt and do different things and talk to different people and go out and meet different people. And all this led up to this one decision to put my name and phone number in this fillable ad on LinkedIn. And then now here I am. And and we didn't even know going through the whole process to get this store. Like, I started in May, and I didn't even know till like the week of Christmas that Ford Motor Company was even going to approve me.
Right.
Right. Because, the bank had approved us. Like, we went through all these things.
Wow.
And I didn't even know until the
if the
wicked
franchise
Christmas
owner
day.
was going to be willing to let you in.
Let me in.
Yeah.
Because they don't let anybody in.
Right.
You don't get to just call up.
Be
Like
a Ford dealer.
Like, it doesn't matter. Like, you could have like $100 million
Right.
cash, and you may not get a store.
Wow.
So there's a lot to get in a store. And
So you definitely been blessed.
yeah,
on
for
that.
sure, man.
Yeah.
I've been blessed. I'm very, very blessed.
Yeah.
Like there's no doubt that I've been set apart and blessed for some reason. I don't know all the details yet,
Right.
but for some reason I am. So, and I pray a lot about it too, like every day, because I'm big on my faith.
Yeah.
And I was like, I pray in the shower. For some reason, like the steam and the
Right.
like, it's quiet time. Nothing's going on around me, but
Right.
I was like, Lord, if it's in your will for me to have this store, open this door, and if it's not in your will, close this door.
Yeah.
So every single day I pray that. So now that it's here, I'm like, there's no way that I can fail if he let me do this.
Right.
There's no way. Because there's like literally thousands of different things that could have fell apart
Yeah.
trying to get the deal done. So,
Right.
I don't think I can, fail.
Right.
As long as I,
Do the right thing. Show up.
do the
every
right
day.
thing, show up,
Yeah.
make sure I'm,
How have you? I'm sure you've even with Campus Automotive. I'm sure you felt the heat of competition. Like how have you? Like now that you're on this level, how have you handled the heat of competition? Because I know you have to be feeling it, even from Roanoke, even from like you got to be feeling the competition heat right now. Tell me about how you handle that.
yeah,
Even in Blacksburg,
so-
I know you've been very competitive in Blacksburg
Yeah.
and wanting to capture market share and
Yeah.
things like that. So just how have you been able to handle that? I know you're a competitive guy.
Yeah, it's hard. It's hard sometimes. But I compete a lot more with myself than I do with
That's
other
the way
people.
it should be. That's the way it should be.
I try to be better
Yeah.
every day
Yeah.
myself before, but I also like to beat the other guys too,
Yeah.
right? But
Especially when they're brave enough to line up against you and like be vocal about it. Like, hey, in my business, I know there's people looking at me and like trying to compete with me and like doing things to position themselves against me and stuff like that. Like, it's just interesting, how that all works. We should be working from abundance. Like me and you, if we were in the same industry, there's plenty of work out there. There's plenty of opportunities out there. But then there's some people that don't believe that. They come at the world as scarce and like they look at the world as like limited, and then they like try to do things to harm the other guy. Like, have you ever had that? Have you had that yet?
Yeah, no doubt.
Yeah.
I've had people that work for me open their own businesses and do harm to me.
Yeah.
I've had people leave my place, go to work other places, and try to do harm to me. I try not to focus too much on that.
Yeah.
I think that I do feel the pressure sometimes when I drive. I'm human. So, I used to, on my way to work, I used to drive by Auto Masters, which is where Beverage Tractor is now with the Kubota dealership. But
Right.
you drive by Auto Masters, there'd be like 200 cars in the parking lot. And I go up to Campus Automotive, and we had like 5 cars. I'm like, where are they getting? Like, why is he so busy? Well, it turns out, like, he wasn't charging people enough, and he couldn't keep track of his business. And now he doesn't have a business.
Yeah.
And now there's a tractor place there.
Right.
So you have to be careful, because the way success looks to you may not really be success. Like, you see lots of cars there, but like, he ain't charging people right. And so that bothered, like, if I drive by South Main Auto and he's got more cars on the lot than I have at Campus Automotive, it looks like he's busier. And I sort of,
Try to crack the whip. Hey, let's get going.
like, come on, let's do it. Like, what's going on? Why don't we do it? And it's hard. And I think, the guys in Christiansburg have a more steady business because they don't have that ebb and flow of college students in and out like we do.
Yeah.
So it's a more so they stay steadier in the summer, and summer's their busy time and summers our slow time. So sometimes driving by those other places, I'm like, man, like I drive by McCoy's Auto now, which is in Fairlawn. He used to be in McCoy, but there's like 300 cars in the parking lot, and I'm like, what in the world? Like,
Yeah, he took over United Muffler.
exactly.
Right? Yeah.
And so, like, I'm like, man, sometimes. So I think a little bit of that competitiveness comes in out because I'm like, what are we not doing?
Yeah.
That he's doing? Like, is it people? Is it process? Is it marketing? Is it me? Do I have too many irons in the fire, which I could have? Like,
Right.
you know, because when you're not, he's only got one thing to focus on, and that's fixing cars, and I've got a towing service and a repair service and a body shop, and I'm selling used cars, and now I got a dealership,
Yeah.
2 hours away.
Right.
So it's hard to compete with those guys, and I can tell you that I guess the more I've done and the bigger I've got, the less friends I have
Same.
in the business.
Yeah.
I have more friends like nationwide because
Right.
I connect and network,
Right.
but I have less friends locally.
Yeah.
Like the people I grew up with when I was working in the service station, we don't even talk anymore. And so for various reasons, but that's kind of hard on me a little bit because sometimes I'm like, man, why can't I I'd love to just some days go back to the service station and just, drive the tow truck a little bit and just work there, work there and go home. And
It's funny what happens when you break off and have ambition. How that threatens other people and things like that. Like I said, I wish I had more friends in the real estate world here locally. I wish I got along with a lot of these guys. All my friends and all my network in this business is going to have to come outside the market. And I just the same thing. I go on these conferences and things like that, and I connect with people, and we're like-minded people. We're just not competitive with each other. So like that's why I say like work from a spot of abundance and not scarcity. And when you see somebody doing 80 deals a year, you don't try to like hate on that. You like try to figure out how they're doing it because that's available to me too.
Well, so real estate around here is a weird thing because you have a lot of agents that are agents because they thought it would be easy.
Yeah.
And they're just doing it because they thought it would be easy money.
Mainly they just like houses, They don't understand they got to love people.
Yeah, they got to love people and they got to do business.
Yeah.
Right? Like, and so they've done other things in the past and not been so successful, so they jump into real estate and, try that. And then your big players is hyper competitive.
Yeah.
Because you have a lot of agents and not enough inventory.
Right now, correct. But see, there's another thing out there too. Is like you don't have enough inventory unless it's yours. Like if you're not doing the right things in the business, like there's homes being sold.
Yeah.
I mean, they just maybe not filter the way that they normally have because there's such high demand. So I believe that statement. If we're doing the right things, if we're networking correctly, the houses are being sold. They're just not showing up to the general active public like they used to.
Yeah.
So if you've got that network built and, you're a staple of the community, like I hope I am, a couple other people that sell, 60, 100, 125 homes a year, like we're pillars of the community in this game. So like we can still navigate, but the people just getting in that's doing 5 deals a year, 10 deals a year, they're wondering where everything's at.
Yeah. Yeah, and I don't like that at all. I think one of your jobs is to bring the most value to your client as possible. That's one of your jobs.
Yep.
And I think there's a lot of, especially here in the last 18 months, there's a lot of agents out here that have had taken on clients and properties and didn't go about the process right and price the stuff too cheap.
Yeah.
Because right now, in the last 18 months, like if you put a house up and you get like 6, 7 cash offers and quick closes, you probably a little bit cheap, right?
Yeah. Well, you could be because the market is the market. So if you do get that, that's still a sign of just stupid demand. But also the fair market rate is always going to go. So like when a buyer is willing to escalate $30,000 over the asking price, then yeah, you came in a little low versus what the buyers will actually pay.
Right.
But I would rather create that emotion of coming in a little low and grabbing 6 different cash offers than coming in high and having to take, an FHA loan that's at a discount.
Subject to appraisal, and it might not appraise.
Exactly.
Because the market's crazy, right?
Yeah.
And your comps are crazy.
Right.
So I get that part of it. But bringing value to the client is the biggest thing that you can do right now.
Oh, yeah.
In your business and creating relationships. And from what I've seen, the people that are using you've built that for them.
Well, we hope so. Like we're in such high demand that, getting to everybody. And that's why I'm like, excited that I have the people that I have in place is like the support I have right now is like the best I've ever had. So like being able to handle all that volume and care for the client and like have them feel like we're engaged, because I pride myself on being like quick to respond. That I made my business off of my availability, showing up on time and saying please and thank you. So like I want to continue to do that, but the only way to continue to get that volume, as you know, is to leverage yourself, and
then be to have that quick availability, but also be able to answer the question.
Yeah,
like have enough knowledge and know what's going on.
Yeah,
so that you can answer the question.
Yeah,
just,
Yeah,
like when somebody says, "Well, what about this?"
Yeah,
like you don't have to call anybody. Right.
Yeah,
and so, our biggest problem around here is just sheer lack of inventory.
Definitely.
And you have all these people that want to move here, and just nowhere for them to go.
Right. I mean, I really feel like if they built 100 homes and they were all available tomorrow, they'd be sold tomorrow. Yeah.
I think if you put 1,000 out there, you wouldn't scratch the surface.
Right.
I probably, and that's just me looking. This is just me looking from the outside in. We might need 4,000 units.
Yeah.
Just to normalize.
Right.
Like right then.
Yeah.
I think that's what the demand is, and another thing that's real important is being able to discuss other options with clients and being like, you're probably not going to get anything in Blacksburg right now.
Right.
But, we can look at Christiansburg. And
I've even had to start making suggestions like, hey, do y'all want to maybe talk to your family? Is there anybody you can combine the incomes with and like buy a bigger house? Like, these $300,000 houses. I mean, like, can you get with your mom or like does your mom and dad want to come to town, or do y'all want to combine family, do this multi-generational thing and buy a $600,000 house? That's something that's room for everybody.
Yeah.
Something that can hold capacity and, combine.
And we might have more inventory.
Yeah.
Like we might have more of those to look at.
Right.
If that's the case. And you might see a lot more of that happening.
No, I don't. I'm actually looking for that myself. Like, like my parents and I, and like, if I come out here and like, find a wife and have a couple kids, that would be a great convenient thing. And we could all like pull our resources. And I mean, this world is getting crazy right now. So you never know, like, how tight you need to be.
Well, so that's the one thing about the United States that's unusual compared with the rest of the world. The rest of the world does that.
Yeah.
3-4 generations in one home.
Yeah.
Especially in Hispanic cultures, like it's everybody lives together and then that's what they do. But here we have this illusion of this American dream of owning this piece of dirt.
Yeah.
And everybody feels like they have to own these pieces of dirt. Now, the interesting thing is it's becoming really expensive to do that.
Yeah.
And so I watched, just this weekend, I watched episode of 60 Minutes, and they were talking about all these consolidators buying these homes and renting them and how it's driving the market up. And, in certain places like Charlotte and in Dallas, like in Atlanta, like, the houses between $250 and $399, like these big companies backed by private equity are buying these properties and renting them.
Yep.
And what that does to the market, because they're, and it's blowing it up is what it's doing.
Yep.
And so, it's not good if the American dream really is owning a piece of dirt. It's not good for the market to accelerate at a pace that far exceeds income increases. And so the only way to jump back into them, like, median incomes haven't grown as fast as housing prices
and inflation,
prices and inflation.
Yeah.
So like people are having to, rent stuff and pay too much to rent stuff, and, they can't buy.
Yeah.
And that's not a good sign. Those indicators aren't very good.
Yep.
Now, luckily, we're a little bit insulated from that here.
We are.
We do have the smaller homes that get bought up by investors, but
I feel like the great thing about this place, and also it's probably one of those, the best part about this place, but the worst part about this place is that everything finds us last. All the market trends find us last. COVID found us last. Like we were one of the last places to really get hit hard. Like after everybody was covered up, the New River Valley, it just kind of seeped in here after everybody else had been dealing with it. Yeah. So we kind of could get prepared for it.
Right.
So that's like a great thing is like, like I would like to be on top of the trend day one. Like I'd be like the trendsetter, but we're not the trendsetter. We're just the ones that kind of get it after everything's set.
Yeah.
Kind of thing.
Yeah.
But we can prepare for everything.
Right.
So that's great.
Right. And that, even going back to my business, when I built Campus Automotive and when I built the body shop, the Mako body shop, but particularly when I built Campus Automotive, like I had this kind of thought that we needed to build a shop there like you would build if you were in Charlotte.
Yeah.
Right. And I thought that the business would come. And so it's probably overbuilt for this market.
Right.
When I built it in 2011 and 12, it's probably overbuilt for what it is. It's too much. It really needed to be smaller. It needed to have less office space and more garage space. And it just didn't need to be like it is.
Right.
Because I was trying to build for thinking bigger than I should have thought. Because eventually it'll catch up to me and I'll be in the right place.
Yeah.
And it'll be the right size.
Yeah.
And the right rent factor and the right everything will eventually catch up and it'll be right. But when I first did it, it was too big and too much.
Right.
And so I think you're right.
I hate even thinking about that. Your vision was too big. Like I know me and you aren't built like that too. Like, but like looking in the box, looking from outside and like seeing, what I would have maybe done different. Yeah, we can analyze that, but man, go big or go home.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
well, that's and that's where I'm at.
Yeah.
And that's what I did. And
yeah.
So eventually, I think it'll catch up. I think you have to build appropriate when you're building businesses and building buildings. Like it has to be appropriate to the market. And I probably overbuilt for the market at the time.
Right.
But eventually, it'll catch up to me and it'll be just right. And so, I'm going to grow into it.
Yeah.
It's just taking a little bit longer than what I anticipated.
Right.
But even at that, I'm still better off than what most people in this business are. Like I started out pumping gas.
Right.
So
that's it. That's nice. Going from the gas pump to the CEO.
Yeah. So like it's hopefully it's a good story.
Hey, that might be the title of the show. From the gas pump to the head seat.
Yeah, we'll see how that goes. But I think from my standpoint, from what I've seen from you, you're doing things. You're doing things different. Like your model is almost set up for more of an urban area.
Yeah. With
more population. Yeah. Your model is.
Yeah.
And so when you come in, like you kick the door in, and you're like, "This is what I'm going to do."
Yeah.
And like these other old real estate people, like they weren't feeling it.
Nope.
Like they're like,
who is this kid?
Yeah. They wasn't feeling it.
That was the response.
Yeah,
for the longest time.
And they got agitated and aggravated with you for some of the things that you did, but like you were like, no, like I'm coming in. This is what I'm doing, and so I think if your firm was in, an area, maybe Richmond or Charlotte or somewhere where there are a lot more, like it's hard to tell. Like it'd be hard to tell.
This is such a like 2 degrees of separation community. you know, like everybody knows each other, you know, stories are passed along, and you know, like everybody pretty much knows everybody's business pretty much. If you want to, you can find out anyway.
Yeah.
But I mean, if I was in a big market, if I was in Miami or Las Vegas, or like what I do would not make an impact to the bottom line of almost anybody that's already successful. What I've done maybe has made an impact. You know, I mean, I've retired people. I mean, people have changed franchises because of what I've done. You know, like what I'm doing here is like, and that's not bragging. That's like someone came up to me and said, "You're doing too much for me to even hang around. Like I'm out."
Yeah.
You know, like
Yeah. You know, I think, I mean, eventually you're going to grow into it.
Yeah.
And like it's going to be like beyond your wildest imagination.
Yeah.
Like
and I think I've got the structure laid out. You know, I've got the people in place. If I can just maintain like their happiness here, I think.
Yeah, and you got to stay.
Yeah.
And you got to see it through.
Yeah.
Because Blacksburg's one of those places where you really got to see it through.
Yeah.
Because it's not an early adopter kind of place.
Yeah.
Like you're not going to bring in like the latest, greatest food franchise into Blacksburg and be wildly successful.
Right.
Like it takes a minute.
Yeah. And you're
You gotta
right.
dig
I mean,
and grind.
trying to shoulder in to the Blacksburg market. I mean, I go to Giles all the time. I go to Pulaski all the time. I got a big market in Christiansburg. I'm here in Blacksburg for a reason. I'm trying to shoulder into this market, to these establishment people that have been here forever, that have worked this community the way that they've worked it to dominate it. It's tough. It's tough to be in there.
It's no doubt that it's tough. Yeah. But they're not doing anything. They're not doing anything better than you are. Yeah. Like literally, probably in most cases they're doing less.
Yeah.
Because they're a little bit lazy.
Yeah.
Like, but you're not lazy. I mean, you're grinding and digging and, you know, but Blacksburg's hard. Like, dude, we don't even have a Burger King.
Right.
Like every town from here to like El Salvador has a Burger King, right?
Except for Blacksburg.
Except for Black. We can't even support a Burger King.
Wow.
It's the craziest. It's going to be interesting to see how this Sheets does. It may go it may be crazy and it may not.
Yeah.
Like it's going to be really interesting to see how it does when they get it built.
Yeah.
But
that's not going in Blacksburg, is it?
Yeah.
Where
right by the Cleaner World.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it approved it. It's approved.
Nice.
Yeah, so Sheets is going there.
That's wild.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't even know that.
So it's going to be interesting how that does.
Oh, it's going to blow up.
I think it will. Yeah. You know, before Kroger was where Kroger was on South Main.
Yeah.
There was a Harris Teeter there, and before that it was a Belk and a Leggett's, and then it'd been a couple things.
Right.
Across the street they'd had a couple grocery stores, and nobody ever went out there. Kmart was out there.
Right.
Like nobody went there. But boy, when that Kroger hit, like for some reason it was the right place, the right time. They did the right things, and bam, that's the busiest Kroger. Nobody, when I was growing up, like people didn't go to Kroger. Like there was a Kroger on University Boulevard,
right?
And people didn't just. I mean, people went to Food Line, but they didn't really go to and Radford Brothers.
Yeah.
But didn't really go to Kroger. But now, like Kroger, like it could be Christmas Eve and it could be a ghost town in the rest of Blacksburg, but that Kroger is like humping.
Since I moved to Blacksburg, that's the only place I go. I go to Walmart in Christiansburg maybe once a month to get the things that I can't find at that Kroger, but that's where I go to shop.
And that's but you live out here too on this side.
Yeah.
Well, I think population growth increased on this side, which helped it.
Yeah.
We'll see what the Sheets does, because the Kroger gas just never hit like they thought it would hit.
Yeah.
I mean, from what I can see, like they're not really like super busy there.
Right.
But we'll see. Sheets tends to draw people from, like you'll see people in Sheets that don't even live. Like you're like, where'd these people come from?
Right.
Like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, the one in Christian. That's the way the one in Christian. People travel to just get to that like late night food.
Yeah.
So
we'll see how it does. And,
Interesting.
Our my family still owns the gas station on North Main Street.
Oh yeah.
So I hope that it doesn't adversely. They own the property, and the stop-in food stores leases that property from them. So hopefully this Sheets doesn't adversely affect the business up there. But usually the stuff that happens on South Main doesn't really impact the stuff on North Main.
Yeah.
Because it's a different group of people.
Yeah. And this is a convenience town. Like they're not going to go like whatever, like that the houses around that gas station aren't going to go bypass that gas station unless it's like drastically cheaper. But I mean, gas prices are pretty locked in. I mean, everybody's pretty much
competitive. On the money. We'll see how it goes. With this, Blacksburg may look completely different in 5 years than it does right now. It already looks different now than it did 5 years ago.
Yeah.
So it's hard to tell. The mayor, for better or for worse, she wrote an opinion piece, and I think they ran it in the Roanoke Times. I'm not sure, but it was definitely on Facebook. And she had talked about things that we had done in the past to stifle growth, and how that, she wasn't going to be on the wrong side of those decisions. And it was part of the discussion about these apartments up here on, that they were trying to build at the corner of Country Club and Main Street.
You talking about Midtown?
Is that what they're calling it?
I think that. Yeah, with the parking garage?
No, that's the one at the high school, right? The one,
the old middle school.
The old middle school.
Yeah.
I'm talking about the one at the corner of Country Club, like right next to Kroger.
Okay.
Yeah, on the side behind the Cookout.
Gotcha.
Where on that property there, they're building those apartments there.
Gotcha.
And how they're going to, at the end of the day, they're going to approve those despite a lot of opposition.
Yeah.
To that project.
Right.
Like a lot of opposition to that project. And so, but she didn't want to be on the wrong side of that. So, they thought as a group that they needed to be on the right side of that, and, building it would be on the right side of that growth. Yeah. So for better or for worse, I think she has a growth mindset, and I think that sort of changed the culture with the town and the town council on how they feel about growth. And, I don't think 10 years ago we could have got a Sheetz here.
Well, honestly, when the revenue is short,
you got to do something.
Yeah. You can't go bankrupt.
Yeah, that's right.
and you can't watch your population migrate in the capacity that it has.
Yeah.
You can't.
Yeah.
You got to expand your tax base eventually, you got to have something going on in the town that's generating revenue.
Right. And her point was, hey, everybody's always crying about affordable housing, but you stifled all these projects, and lack of inventory has caused a situation where there's no affordable housing.
Yes.
That's what happened.
Yep.
You need to understand, what you didn't want this in your backyard, so now you don't have it in your backyard.
Yeah.
Now, on the flip side, how much affordable housing do we really need as a community? Why can't we just be who we are and be what it is?
Yeah.
And if you needed affordable housing, you can. There's Radford, Christiansburg.
This is the 90210 of the area. You get to live in here. That's what it is. It's going to be a little bit more expensive because we've created such a great community and things like that. But I mean, you don't want to shut diversity down.
No, and you don't want to close doors for people. And
exactly.
And you have to have people work.
Yeah.
At this is a company town now.
Yeah.
And the company is Virginia Tech.
Yeah.
And there are people that work there, and then there's police officers, and at one time, out of 100 and some police officers, I don't even know how many they have now. They have a lot. Maybe 1 or 2 lived in the town.
Exactly.
And so when they're not living in the town, but
at the end of the day, you need a diverse community.
Yeah.
And that's the pride of Blacksburg is being diverse. But as it's become more expensive, it's shut these working folks out. It's all executives. It's all it's all the elites. I mean, when the average sales price in Blacksburg is about the top, $600,000. I mean, there's more $1 million houses in Blacksburg right now than there's ever been. It's where does the
income? So the income, there's only a few things that you can do in Blacksburg to provide the income to even have a house like that, right?
Yeah.
So the more that close at that level, the higher the rest of the homes come too. Yeah. Then the smaller homes, the really small ones, when they're bought by investors as rental properties, also raises the prices.
Yeah. Because really, rents dictate the market value.
Rents
That starts the evaluation of what things are worth.
and if it's $1,000 a bedroom,
yeah,
that's like look what it's doing to the market. Like
Yeah.
the market's kind of messed up.
Yeah.
So
those $1,000 a room apartments have allowed everybody to almost increase their rents by 25%.
by 25%.
You know,
And then, to the point now where, even Fox Ridge got sold.
yeah,
And so big money deal.
yeah,
So they base multifamily on rent factor, like multiples of rent factor.
yeah,
So not necessarily asset value, but multiples of rent factor. And, that place was built in 1970.
yeah,
So, man, I don't know how many hundred millions of dollars that is going to close for, but that's a big deal.
yeah,
And it was all based on multiples of rent factor
Right.
and not the actual asset because the buildings are old, wore
Yeah.
out.
yeah.
And they probably got like half inch of paint on the walls, like,
Right.
like years and years of turning and painting.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. Like it's kind of crazy. I don't know. I don't know where it's going to go.
Yeah.
We'll see. I think that, it's definitely trending up. Like no matter what happens to us, it always kinds of sort of trends up
Yeah.
and keeps growing. And if they'll let it grow, like it could grow really fast.
Yeah.
And, the communities around us are growing really fast. And it's certainly a desirable place to live.
No doubt.
I don't know why, you have to be careful that you don't grow it to the point where what it was desirable for
It's no longer.
is no longer desirable.
Yeah.
So, but you can't really control it either.
Yeah.
Because then you have a situation where we have now where it's just not like, I don't know. It's a lot to it.
Yeah.
Thinking about it. Owning a business here is, it's good. It's good. It's good. It's hard because you only have, 8-9 months of cash flow. The rest of the time you just try to
Maintain.
Just
Just, hey, if we make payroll, win.
like, man, and just wait till the fall when the students come back. When the students come back. Like that's all we think about.
Yeah.
We get in this cycle, and that's me, and that's, that's Waffle House and Taco Bell and
Yeah.
Wendy's, and is that part of it?
Right.
I think we're in it for the long haul. I think that I'm obviously I've got a bigger footprint now,
Yeah.
and probably will get bigger. So
I'm excited to see you work, bro.
yeah, I'm excited. So
Well, we'll just wrap it right there, man. That's
Yep,
a good ending
I'm
point.
good.
And, man, like I'm proud of you. Like I said, I appreciate you being on here, our relationship. And if I can ever do anything for you, let me know.
yeah, I appreciate it. Same here.
Yeah, cool, man.
Yep.
All right. That's episode 31, Finding Your Place. Thanks for watching. We're trying to get to 1,000 subscribers, man. Shout us out sometime. I need to get these 1,000. So
We need to do something.
we need to do something.
Yeah,
But-
we need to do something. I can wear it like I can wear a shirt or something in one of my videos.
Yeah, definitely.
Something.
Yeah, we'll do something. But hey, thanks for watching. And you got any questions? You need car service? Go to Campus Automotive. You're up in Waynesboro. Go by the Ford dealership up
Yeah,
there.
Campus
Buy you a car.
Ford.
Yeah, buy you a car.
Yep.
And we'll see y'all next time. Appreciate you watching.